is John Cullen with GrowingYourGreens.com in HD. Got another exciting episode for you guys. So as you guys know, you guys saw me set up my Juraform JK400 compost. Let me go ahead and spin this guy real quick. All right, spin it right around to the doors. I love this composter. I mean, it's made out of metal. It's also insulated. This model actually does get quite heavy to spin if you got it full up like I do with all my yard waste and kitchen scraps. So for that reason, I might recommend the JK 270 model, which is a lot easier to spin, especially if you're a young lady and don't have a lot of strength. This one definitely is going to give you a workout, and that's how I build my muscles. I don't go to gyms, I spin my Jura composter. So anyways, this has been going for a little bit over a month now. Let's go ahead and open this guy up and check it out what I got inside. Woo! Still warm. Look at that, man. Rich, delicious compost to feed my garden. But the problem is there's a lot of stuff that's done in here, but there's also a lot of unbroken down pieces. What's this? This is maybe like I don't know, a branch or twig that actually just breaks apart. Here's actually half of an avocado pit, and this is one of my favorite things to do. Take the avocado pit, Hulk Hogan, and look at that. I could just squeeze it up, breaks into little pieces here. I like to smell my compost too. Actually, did you know there's actually components in soil and compost that may make you feel better? And yes, there's research on that. But in any case, my compost is done, and I need to basically sift it out to basically get all the finished compost, but not all the big pieces, because I don't want to put big, mango pits in my soil or whatnot to continue to break down. I want to put that back in the composter with the new batch that's going to be going in real soon. So what today's episode is going to be about is how to build a pretty easy compost sifter that's going to fit on top your wheelbarrow. And this is my personal design. And actually another secret on how to sift your compost without building a sifter at the end. So let's go over and show you some of the parts that I've pre-cut and have all ready to go. And we're just going to assemble it, and we'll sift some compost before this video is over. Alright, so now I'm all set up in the workshop, actually the backyard, to make my little compost sifter. Super easy. Anybody can do this with some parts available at your local, big box home improvement store. So what you'll need are just basically a few simple things. Number one, you're going to need some 2x4s here. We got a 2x4, and basically I cut two of them to 4 feet long. Next we have two pieces cut to 21 1/8 inches long, and this is actually going to be in between. So on the 2x4s, I found that by buying two 8-footers, that'll work. So that was about $5 approximately. Next I had to buy one piece of the 8-foot 1x2, and this is just some cheap 1x2. This is like about $1. So that one piece, I cut it into two 24-inch pieces, and then I cut another two pieces into 21 1/4. So that's going to make the frame of the compost sifter, and then finally you just need the hardware cloth. You guys can see that there if I'm going to turn it at an angle there maybe. This is basically a 2-foot square. So I got a 2-foot by a 10-foot roll. I found the least expensive place to buy this locally was a local Lowe's store. Home Depot had it, but they're actually more expensive. So I got it was about $13, and I just using 2 feet for this project, and I'll have a whole bunch more left over for later. Besides these parts, I'm also going to use some screws. I like to use the deck screws. They're fairly heavy duty and fairly long ones. And besides that, I'll need my cordless drill to pre-drill some holes and also to screw the screws in. Also a clamp, a tape measure, and a drill bit, and some screwdriver bits for the drill. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Next, I'll go ahead and set this up so you guys can see what it's actually going to look like. Then I'll start screwing it together, and I like screwing things together. And then we'll be done, and we're going to actually sift some compost. So next, let me go ahead and show you guys how this is going to go together. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take our two long 4-foot rails here. We're just going to lay that out. We're going to lay those guys side by side, about 2 feet apart. Next, we're going to take our two 2x4s here that are 21 inches, and we're going to set it approximately 1 foot in from either side. Next, you're going to take your two 2x4s that are 21 inches long and put them in between there. I'm leaving about a foot on either end. This is going to give you a nice place to hold the sifter. Then you're going to want to go ahead and, you know, of course, screw this together very well. Then we're going to go ahead and take our wire mesh hardware cloth here. Once again, I got the 1/4 inch spacing. They do come in 1/2 inch spacing, but I wanted a nice fine spacing to have good, you know, compost in there. Then once we got that, we're going to take the last 1x2s and put it on top. This is actually going to frame it in, hold this down more securely, but also make it so that it'll actually stay in the wheelbarrow fairly well. Next, we're going to take our 1x1. These are the 24-inch pieces. We're going to put them running this direction on top of our hardware cloth over that 21-inch 2x4 to cover that up. Then we're going to do the same with the other one over on this side. Finally, our 21-inch pieces are going to go right in here to completely frame in our hardware cloth, just like so. And now all you need to do is actually screw this together, put some screws in here to screw it into the 2x4s here, maybe a couple along here as well. And basically that'll make you an easy compost sifter. So, you know, one of the things you could do is, you know, the specific directions are, you're just going to screw this guy in first to have your frame. Then this point, if you do have a staple gun, you could just go ahead and staple this in to hold it in place. I actually don't have one handy, so we're just going to go ahead and put this on. We're just going to go ahead and put these guys on, and then I'm just going to clamp this down to hold it down. Then I'm going to screw it in, and the screws alone should be enough to hold the hardware cloth in place. So I mean, this is a pretty easy assembly. So next, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I got that compost sifter all built, and before I show you guys how to use it and how it works and why I designed it the way I did, got to get some compost out of my Joraform composter to sift. So one of the questions that you might be wondering is, John, how do I know my compost is ready, man? I mean, it'll sit in here looking like this for a long time, and you know, you might be like, oh, it's not ready, there's still pieces left. Well, that's why I made the sifter, so I could sift out the stuff that's ready, and the stuff that's not ready, guess what? I'll throw it back in there with some new materials to get it to break down further into this fine compost that I want to use. So first we need to empty out the drawer. You could just basically tip it and put a wheelbarrow underneath it, but then that would fill up my wheelbarrow. So what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm just going to go ahead and use a little bucket, and this is actually a scoop away bucket that my brother gave me when he had a cat. And these buckets last. I always encourage you guys to reuse and save 5-gallon buckets and other buckets around the garden. They come in very handy. Actually, be sure to check my old videos, like back in the olden days, and it was only 10 minutes long because I couldn't make videos longer than that. And many uses for a 5-gallon bucket around the garden. I had quite a fun time making that video. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and stick this bucket in there. It fits right in. And we're going to scoop up the compost into the bucket here. Now, a few things you want to look for when you know, taking out your compost. You want to make sure it looks done. So, you know, this one looks kind of like some coffee grounds, you know, after you're done brewing coffee. And it's not too wet, but not too dry. I think that's one way to tell. The other way is to smell it. Should have a nice neutral flavor. If it smells like funky or something, it's probably not ready, not right. Another thing is, it shouldn't be too hot. If you could stick your hand in there and it's warm to the touch, you know, it's probably alright, ready to go. If it's really hot, especially in the Jura, it's not right, not ready to go. This is just a warm to the touch, so we should be good. As you can see, got a whole bucket full here. Might top off my bucket with a shovel. And then actually, let's show you how to use that compost sifter that I made. Alright, so here's the sifter that I made. As you can see, I love it when a plan comes together. And it's basically a 2 foot by 2 foot. And I planned this to have, you know, 1 foot on each end, so you could kind of hold it by the end, carry it, or use it with 2 people. One person could have each side and shake it back and forth. But I kind of made it, you know, so one person like myself could use it. And here's how it turned out. We put a bunch of screws on the bottom, basically to frame it in, to frame in the bottom mesh here. And I didn't frame it in to all the way down. This is for a very important reason. This is my wheelbarrow here. And what will happen is this will fit inside the wheelbarrow like this. And because I didn't make it longer, I could actually rock it back and forth in the wheelbarrow itself, you know, probably about a good 6 to 8 inches. So if I'm just using it by myself, I could put the load in there and just rock it back and forth just like this. Some people make an additional frame, but I figured I'd use the wheelbarrow to do that. And the bottom framing that sticks down acts as a stop so I can't go too far. So let's go ahead and demonstrate the use of my new compost sifter. All right, let's go ahead and take the compost that I made, my own compost. We're just gonna pour it in the sifter right here. And this is probably about enough for a bucket's worth. I'll probably empty this whole bucket in my sifter here. Fresh compost, nothing better. And we're just gonna rock it back and forth. All right, looks like it's working real good. And check it out, we got all the big particles left on top, and we got all the fine stuff came right through. So literally, this compost sifter is working real good. Once again, I did use the 1/4-inch screen, you know, otherwise it would leave large fragments through. This is working quite good. Let's see, some of the things that are not composting are some of the organic stickers, so we're gonna go ahead and pull those out, not put those back through the compost process. Looks like some of the little plastic from the bananas that come on the bananas did not get composted. Some of the sticks in here, you know, some mango seeds, some avocado pits, some of the main things that I'm seeing. We're gonna go ahead and pull out a lot of the plastic and some of the other stuff that didn't get composted. And we're just gonna go ahead and let it recompost, and I'm gonna go ahead and sift more of my own compost. I mean, once again, I made this compost sifter for under $10. I mean, the 2x4s are maybe like $5. I got a 1x2 about $1, and a few bucks for the grate, a few bucks in screws, and man, you're all sifting your own compost for under $10 by yourself. This is definitely a cool tool. Probably the next thing I'm gonna do is probably gonna coat the wood with a non-toxic coating stain so that it'll protect it, plus it'll look a lot sharper, and you'll be sure to see that in the next video. Now, if you're not able to afford $10 to make your own sifter like this, which is really cool, makes it super simple, super easy, I'm gonna show you guys another way to sift some compost. All right, so I got my rich compost here that I made and strained out with my sifter, but another cheap and inexpensive way to do it if you don't have a sifter like I just built. And I figured this out the other day before I built my sifter. I'm like, man, I need to sift some compost because I'm making a nice soil mixture. How could I sift it? Well, you guys have seen these on a previous episode. I use these guys actually to protect my tree collards from the birds getting them. But guess what? This is a nice, big, large bag. You know, these are like, my coconuts came in these, but they ship like potatoes and onions in these bags sometimes. Ask your local produce manager at the store for these guys, because sometimes they'll just rip the bags open, get the onions out, and put them on for sale, and they'll just throw these away. But these are very valuable. They could be used to haul materials, they could be used to protect your plants from birds, and they could also be used to sift your compost. So let's go ahead and do that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take, once again, I got a bucket of compost. We're gonna go ahead and put this over the bucket. We're gonna then tip the bucket upside down like this to put get all the compost inside it. We're gonna then remove the bucket. I'm then gonna go ahead and hold this shut, and we're gonna grab the other side of this, and check this out. I'll just rock this back and forth. And yes, this is a little bit messier than the sifter I made, but hey, this was free literally. This is gonna be some garbage. It's, you know what, repurposing something instead of having it go to the landfill. And check it out, works great. It's just a bit slower doing it this ways, but it's kind of fun. So now you guys have learned 2 ways to sift your compost for under 10 bucks. This one's free, the other one may cost me 10 bucks, you know, and some time. And if you're not so handy with the saw and whatnot, I want to remind you guys that if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and other major hardware stores, they may cut the wood for you for free if you buy it there at no cost. You could literally go in there, have them cut the wood for you, come home, and some better hardware stores will actually sell you the hardware cloth by the foot. You could get that by the foot, come home, build your own compost sifter so that you can enrich your garden with your own homegrown compost, because buying compost by the bag can definitely get expensive. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode learning how to make a compost sifter. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on sifting. This is John Cola with growingyourgreens.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and we're going to do a Q&A, question and answer for you guys. We're going to answer questions that you guys sent in to me either on my